Okay, good morning, Coolidge. Football players as well as the regular students. My name is Dyrell, and I'm one of the guys in Washington, D.C. that goes in every neighborhood dealing with the stop the killing as well as the returning citizens as well as support our students. Now, I didn't come up here to lecture y'all because one thing that I know and what I always explain to people in government as well as people in Washington, D.C., as well as Barack Obama, as well as his former Secretary of Education. I believe that this is the greatest generation that was ever produced in America since the inception of us coming over here from Africa. And when I ask to back it up in terms of proof, I always, within probably 30 seconds, tell them this. The technology and the knowledge and the brilliance and intelligence of our young people, particularly you, is so misunderstood, and the reason why it's misunderstood is I notice, particularly with this young generation, that all y'all want, whether it's from staff or faculties or from our parents, is to keep it 100. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm gonna say a few words, probably 10 and 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna have a question and answer, because what I like to do, I like to hear from y'all. I don't like to do a lot of speaking. And that's one of the issues that I know with this generation, particularly you, students, is a lot of us as adults is not listening to you. I'm gonna say that again. A lot of us that's adults, we have an issue with listening to y'all. And that's a major problem because anybody that has an issue or disagreement that thinks that their issue or disagreement is not being addressed, then there's an issue. So I'm gonna have a question and answer because I know if I listen long enough with a discerning ear, then I'm gonna hear whatever the issue is in terms of solution. Now, I'm gonna start it off with this. You are student athletes. If not, you are in school. Now, since you are in Coolidge High School, you are in Coolidge High School to get an education. So since you are in Coolidge High School to get an education, the word education comes from the Latin prefix ed, which means to look, right? And the verb ed or duco means out of darkness. So if ed means to look, and the other Latin prefix of it means out of darkness, then once you get an education properly, that means you are being led out of darkness. And let me back that up in terms of correction. ED means to lead, and the word duco means out of darkness. So if you are properly educated, then you led out of darkness of ignorance into the light of understanding. Now, the beautiful thing that I notice as I'm speaking to you already is y'all are head and shoulders above the other high schools that I go to. Because as I'm addressing myself and establishing a relationship with those other high schools, normally it is a whole lot of talking, right? And I normally have to ask the coaches or diplomatically ask the guys to give me the same respect that I'm giving them. And I usually have to go into being diplomatic and understanding what I'm in front of as well as them understanding me. And this is why respect goes both ways. Now, we are in Coolidge High School. The word respect comes from the Latin prefix ris, which means to look, and spec means again. So respect means to look again. And this is what I noticed a lot of our young students feel disrespected. I understand. And this is why I came here, just to say a few words, because I'm one of the guys that they usually call on to come in certain neighborhoods, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Matter of fact, I just got back from Chicago 2 weeks ago. I was called up there by Lil Dirk father, and we real close, as well as Larry Hoover co-defendants. that just came home, as well as T-Fly and the Vice Lords up in Chicago. So they took me an O-Block, and I had to talk to them because I'm hearing the raps was going on. But I know the reality in Washington, D.C. is totally different from Chicago. But the thing for me is I do a whole lot of traveling. I'm not just in Washington, D.C. Next month, I'll probably end up out in California to deal with the real Crips and the real Bloods, because they got issues in California about a color, a red in the blue. But unfortunately, like I told them when I go out there, when y'all in prison, y'all together. But when you come home, you're beefing again. See, so DC in terms of students, because my mind is on y'all, bro. And I'm gonna give you a short history. I just came home, I had 35 to life with no parole. You don't supposed to be listening to me right now. I had a first-degree murder charge, bro. I went in 1998, I stayed at the DC jail 3 years, even though they knew I was innocent. You know, I lost my case. I did 23 years. I just came home 31 months ago. I did 23 years. I did 15 years of solitary confinement, meaning this. I was in a cell for 23 hours a day for 15 years. I was in all 7 regions of the Bureau. I opened up Big Sandy Penitentiary. I was down Canaan. I was down Florida. I was in Allenwood. I was out Victorville, 3,000 miles from Washington, D.C. with all the Bloods and Crips. But the difference for me was coming up the same way that y'all and coming up right now. The only difference from us in Washington, D.C. is a culture with us. Ain't no doubt about it, we strong. It's no doubt about it in my mind. And I'm gonna say this, brother. I'm gonna tell you this without being prejudiced and biased. We run the feds, bro. We run it. Ain't nothing moving without us, bro. And for me, coming up in Washington, D.C., I was blessed, unfortunately, to come up similar to y'all. You know, I was a student athlete myself. I used to play football. I was running a 4.2 and a 40-yard dash. Playing in the streets of Washington, D.C., I ended up going down to youth center, where I broke every Lawton record at 17 and 18 years of age. And I was blessed because both of the football coaches at that time, Dick Smith and Ed Leggett, one played for the Washington Redskins formerly, and one played for the Dallas Cowboys. So I had some coaches that professionally played in the football, National Football League. And at 18 years of age, I'm reflecting back on my life where I had all the opportunities to be successful because they tried to get me to go to UDC down Lawton, and I still squandered it because my mind wasn't made up. And this is why I'm talking to you, because at the end of the day, I had multiple opportunities to be successful. I ended up catching a murder charge in 1998, which I stayed at the DC jail 3 years. And I'm gonna tell you something, bro, and this is why I explained to the brothers in the neighborhoods, and it hurts me the most because that kind of time that I had, I couldn't max it out. I didn't have no parole date. So I had to live every day with the possibility of me dying in prison, man. And I'm gonna tell you something, we can talk all we want to, bro. But living under that reality like that, where if you don't get out of prison, you know that you're gonna die. This is what I'm explaining to you, brother, this morning. And this is what I'm explaining to the young brothers all over the country, particularly the young brothers in Washington, D.C. Because when I was on those compounds and those young brothers was getting off that bus, bro, with 90 years, 120 years, and 260 years. And it dawned on them then, after the hood episodes is over with and ain't nobody talking about what you did no more, you got to live with the reality that you ain't never coming home. So I'm gonna tell you what they doing right now. They're getting on medication because they can't handle the reality of which they know they're gonna die in that joint. That's why I'm gonna be here. They dying in there. Everybody ain't gonna be fortunate like me. See, I ended up doing that 23 years. I did 15 years in solitary confinement, but I was blessed because I came home with 3 college degrees. I got a social and behavior science degree. So I wasn't in there watching LeBron James and Steph Curry. I was in there educating myself. I got an American Studies degree. And I got a business degree. That's why I have a business. And this beautiful thing about that is a negative and a positive. The negative is I had to go to prison to get me a college education. That's the negative, man. And this is why I'm explaining to you, because it's your decision, and whatever decision that you make, you're gonna have to live with it, because every decision that you make, there's consequences to your decision. And this is why association breeds assimilation. What do you mean? Right now, there's a lot of brothers that I knew and I know, and I haven't been home long enough to trust them, because I ain't going back like that. I ain't got no more years. They ain't getting no more years out of me like that. So when I'm in them neighborhoods, I'm usually going by myself, because I got to trust but verify yourself, because it's so diabolical in the citizen out here now. I understand why you have to live how you have to live. I understand why you thinking like you're thinking. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that everybody that's around you, we like to use the terminology, my best interest. Okay, what is your best interest? Because you in school. Your best interest right now is to accept correction, because you are in a high school to get an education. So you in a building that's designed to correct. And that's a problem with a lot of us. That was a problem with me at the time, 20, 25, and 30 years ago, when I was your age. I didn't have a problem with correction. I have a problem with the discipline and obedience of following the correction. It's only different now because for me, I'm passionate about sacrificing my time and going to these high schools and talking to y'all, because not what I did coming out of the feds like that, but more so you got to give yourself an opportunity to live, you young men. And I'm watching 13, 14, 15-year-old students dying. So for me, I know there's something that I can do. And the thing that I does best is nothing else come to check on y'all. And that's why I gave y'all that returning citizen, stop the killing and support the students, because as I was speaking to the principal today, we had a 10, 15-minute conversation with both of the coaches, and it was so profound to hear you got a principal that's active. Okay? And a lot of times we ungrateful until we get in the situation, right? Because I'm hearing from the DC jail. Okay? I teach the high intensity for C. Sosa, that they don't send them brothers back to prison. I teach the high intensity. I don't charge them nothing. I'm saying give them to me before you send them back, to help them reacclimate themselves back to society, that we can make Washington, D.C. a decent and safe place to live. Now, my word is my bond. I'm ready to stop speaking because I want to hear from you now. For the brothers that shot, that was one of the problems that I had as a student in school. As the teachers were speaking, there were certain things that I didn't quite understand, but I was just too shy to raise my hand because of peer pressure. That peer pressure got me in a whole lot of trouble, bro. Because I was more concerned about what the brothers around me or the class would think about me because I did not know. Now, that's what ignorance means. I'm ignorant to a whole lot of things. Ignorance only means that I don't know. That don't mean that I'm stupid. I just don't know. So I'm going to keep my word, my bond to you. And there's no question that you cannot ask me that I'm not going to answer. So at this time, I'm going to take all the questions because I'm quite sure that Coolidge students and student athletes have some questions for me based on the 10 or 15 minutes of some of the story that you heard from myself and some of the positive and some of the negative things that I went through in my life. Question number one, about raising your hand. Who got a question?
That's that shy stuff we talking about.
I got a question. Once you actually got transferred from DC jail in the feds, that reality kicked in, that you had to be a man and you didn't have a neighborhood to stand on, like you had to be your own man. Like when did that click into your head?
That was a beautiful question, Coach Kevin, because I was 32 years of age when I put the charge. And of course I was a man, but the difference with me at that time, and I had 23 years to speak about it, or think about it. I stayed up to jail 3 years. I always had certain qualities of myself, helping people, but more so let me say this first. The first law of nature is self-preservation. I'm getting directly to Coach's question. The first law of nature is self-preservation. Regardless of who you love or think that you love, or who you think that love you, they can't love you more than you love yourself. That's the law. So when Coach asked me just now, after reflecting on being up DC jail, when did I come to the realization that I had to be a man? I was 32 years of age. So being 32 years of age is not considered being a man. See, a man takes responsibility. And you young men, and I see the young women right now that just ended. It's taking responsibility. The first responsibility that you have to take is in the decisions and your own action. Because in the word responsibility, you have the word, the ability to respond. The ability to respond to what? Your own line of thinking and your own thinking and consequences, because before you do something, you got to take in consideration, okay, look, should I think 5 times before I do it? Because what is the consequences? So I had 36 months while I was fighting a murder charge. I lost in January. They sent me to the old penitentiary in Terre Haute in August. That's when it started, Coach. I ain't never been to no feds, man. When you go to the feds, you dealing with an international attitude, mindset in people. You see people from all over the world, but you have the most criminally insane minds internationally. So when you go in an environment like this, we from Washington, D.C., I know that you're not prepared to deal with people from all over the world like that.
You talk to him about that.
I know you're not, because I wasn't either.
Talk to him.
And you only know what you've been taught. Not academically reading from a book or getting on social media in terms of Instagram and Facebook. That ain't gonna cut it. So I wasn't prepared, like you said, Coach, to go to a penitentiary which was in the Midwest, Indiana, Ku Klux Klan, skinheads, white supremacy. I'm coming from Washington, D.C. Ain't going for nothing. All right? Yes, sir. So I had to learn how to not allow my emotions to supersede my intelligence, because if I did, I would catch a murder charge in there. Because you're dealing with people that know they ain't never going home, and you're dealing with people in terms of the most criminally insane minds of society. Right? So I had to navigate myself through all of that, and then you're dealing with some of the brothers out of our city, just off the chain. Just like they off the chain now, that's off the chain. The only difference for me was I came in by myself, and I'm saying I'm leaving by myself. And I had the credibility and the character. I ain't with nobody. So I had to establish myself, like you said, Coach. When I left the DC jail, even right now, all those brothers that's coming home, all of us was in the bureau, all of us fine, we real close, but I make my own decisions. You ain't pulling me one way or another. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing by myself, and got the juice in the city and nationally. I ain't afraid to say it, but the work that I'm putting in to make sure that you live a productive life. But you have to say to yourself, all right, you a student. You ain't here to chase them little sisters. And sister, you ain't here to chase them little brothers. That really, 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 truly, if I'm going to keep it real, don't know how to take the responsibility to be with a woman. Because you only know what you've been taught. And do you know that the scientist teaches us that the mind don't understand the consequences of its actions till it reach 25 years of age, because your mind is still growing. So you don't know the consequences of your own mind, because you're not 25 years of age yet. And that was one of the conversations that I had with the psychologists. That's one of the conversations that I have with the federal judges downtown. That's one of the conversations that I have with the Superior Court judges downtown. That's one of the conversations that I have with Mary Bowser. That's one of the conversations that I have with C. Sosa, because I am afforded the opportunity. Before they send them brothers back, they give them all of them to me. All of them. I don't get paid for nothing but to make sure that you live a productive life, because at the end of the day, you have to understand that life is sacred, brother. None of us have the right to take a life that we didn't create. And it's just too much killing going on. Too much. There's too much pontificating about what you're going to do about it. But ain't no actions behind it. And that's the issue that I have, and this is why Thursday I'm going to Baloo. They cutting up a Baloo. Teachers can't handle them, coach. They cutting up there. I'm on Martin Luther King, Malcolm X with those little brothers on the corner. I'm going in there by myself, because even though I got a lot of good men around me, I don't trust them, because the wrong mood, them brothers got them calicos and them other things. Them legs, which they call them. And they ain't playing, because they can't understand that not just life is sacred, but the consequences of taking somebody's life over a disagreement. I'm saying, okay, what are y'all doing? And then get up to DC jail, then you tell. So I deal with all of that. He did it. See, so for me, I'm gonna stop it again, because I know that you got some questions, but don't let me leave away from here, brother. Y'all don't ask me no questions. Because there's no questions that's wrong. I know, if nothing else, brother, with the short story again, that you got at least a question. Give me a question, brother.
I want to ask how you got 3 degrees when you were still in.
Okay, speak up, brother. They can hear you.
How you? I got to stand up.
Yeah, you want to stand up, bro?
How you gonna ask how you got the 3 degrees when you were still in?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what happened, bro. Coach, I'm piggybacking on Coach's question, right? That was a hell of a reality before me. I mean, I've been moving so fast since I've been home. I ain't been home for 31 months, bro. I've been moving so fast, cutting through society, because I prepared like a boxer prepare himself. I was preparing myself to come home, because I didn't believe that I was gonna die in prison. See, it wasn't no dream to me. You see, I knew what happened to me legally, but even though they said 35 to life with no parole, they said that I didn't accept it. That's why I'm talking to you about your decisions. See, so I just had too much influence. They never seen nobody, black, white, red, brown, and yellow, that could unite and have a relationship with Ku Klux Klans, skinheads, Pisces, Serranos, the real black hands from Mexico, the Southsiders from San Diego and California, the Bloods and Crips, the Vice Lords, GDs, our homies, the Dirty South, the Midwest. I was blessed to get and have all of that influence to keep those penitentiaries a decent and safe place to live. And at the same time, your question's so valid. I mean, your question is really piggybacking on what Coach said, because I knew when I got home, I ain't going back to no street, bro. I ain't happening. I paid my own money. I'm highly disciplined. I eat 1 meal a day, bro. I was in that cell 23 hours a day. In the hour that they let me go out for rec, I told them, Willa, the door shut. I ain't coming out. Back, just tell me when the bus coming and I'm gone. So what I would do was I would study 8, 9, 10, 11 hours a day while I was in that cell. So when I met the former Secretary of Education, Ori Duncan say, man, I couldn't have done it. I said, yes, you could. And when I tell people that, they say I couldn't have done it, yes, you can. You don't know what you're gonna do. And you don't know what you could do. Because at the end of the day, for me, see, a man that knows his purpose, or a woman that knows her purpose, don't waste time. Don't you waste your time in Coolidge High School. Whatever you're doing, whatever life that you living right now, because you know, get you an education. Because that's one thing that nobody can ever take from you is an education. So what I did, bro, not only that, what I was taking 3 college courses, I'm a elementary Spanish class from my other 2 college degrees. I was taking 5, studying to get 5 college degrees at once, while all that was going on. So even though I was, helping everybody, I used to have to talk to and partner with the chief psychology, because see, the story that y'all don't hear on social media is how them brothers losing their minds in there, bro. I had to deal with the chief psychology because I had to go to him and tell him, look, don't keep putting these people on medication. See, because they're guinea pigs to you. You trying out the new medication from a pharmaceutical company on the people in prison because you don't understand the values of somebody's life and you don't care. So I had to write the House of Representatives, I had to write Congress, senators, and that's one thing I learned how to do. I learned how to educate myself because the pen is really mightier than the sword. See, so all the aggression, like Coach said, all the aggression that y'all got, you got to be able to channel that. And that's exactly what I did. And that's exactly what I do. Because me going in them high schools and sometime in them neighborhoods, it gets wicked. Ain't no doubt, man, that nigga the police. You know, it gets wicked, right? And I just look and I listen because I understand. See? And when you start using language like that and not even really knowing a person, that's really telling me what I'm dealing with. You don't want to be corrected. You don't want to deal with the reality of somebody helping you, right? So if you don't want to deal with the reality of somebody helping you, then that tells me right then and there, truth be told, you don't want no help till you get in trouble.
Right. And Brother Muhammad, the saying is, people only hear the last thing, they got in their mind the last thing that you said or somebody said to them, right?
Yes.
So I see they don't have no questions, but I know what's on their mind. And I want them to understand. I want them to know this, because a lot of people don't know. They just hear about stories and they watch TV, and they even hear me and Coach Kevin say about our past history. They laugh at us like, you ain't. Won't you explain to these young men what happens to guys that's doing the killing and when they get inside the penitentiaries? Like, what happens to guys like that when they get down there? How do life look in the penitentiary to these top soldiers and these so-called gangsters once they get behind them closed doors?
Oh, it's ball game. I'm gonna tell you personally why I help y'all, man, right? And it's not enough money. They don't make enough money for me to do what I'm doing for this city and nationally, right? What I don't like and what I didn't like, I don't like vantage takers. I couldn't stand it from the youth center with Wayne Perry and all of them. I come up with all them guys that they like to drop their name, Titus and Mario and all those. All of us come up together. I'm cut from that cloth. Matter of fact, right now, a lot of the feds is calling me to help them because I ain't leaving no man behind with me. I ain't leaving them in there. I was fortunate to get out, and a lot of those guys helped me do the work that I'm doing right now out here inside, which was keeping everybody safe that we can get home. Now, I don't like vantage takers, right? You ain't got no guns when you go in there, And the average one of us can't fight. It's just what it is, man. And this is why all the killing is going on. Because we can't fight. So I got to show you that I'm a man by taking your life, And that don't impress me at all. I deal with all the killers. I deal with the killers right now. Your generation and the older ones, none of that impress me because I'm cut from that cloth. That don't impress me at all because I seen the killers get on medication. I seen the killers cry. And I watch the brothers when they get off the bus, how brothers take advantage of them because you ain't got that Glock. You ain't got that Glock with you. You ain't got it. You ain't got that Draco. It ain't coming through R&D. You ain't got it. So you got to be a man. Yeah. So since you got to be a man and you ain't got that, and even your homies ain't strong enough to protect you in there. And this is where, for me, I ain't letting that go down like that. You see? That's why I'm loved all over the country. I'm from Washington, D.C. The Bloods and Crips calling me out there to deal with all of that that's going on in California. Like I said, I just left Chicago with all Laurie Hoover co-defendants. I was in the penitentiaries with the brothers. Matter of fact, they shipped me around so much. I came from the old penitentiary, and they ended up shipping me to the new penitentiary. So what I see, answering your question directly, they use the brothers when they come out, hold all these knives. If you ain't holding all them knives, they sending you on dummy missions, meaning we call them send-offs. Send them to do something crazy that you ain't gonna do. And that's one of the things that I'm active and still doing right now. You have them drink some water, be tired, bro. Because a lot of times I be like that. I be tired. more so not physically tired, but mentally tired because I deal with a lot. Even when I leave here, I got to go to the not former secretary, but Lamont Curry, the director of MOCA, on y'all behalf to deal with some things, because that's on my mind simultaneously as I'm talking to y'all, because I got to make my word bond. But it's bad for me, because once you get in that fed like that, can't nobody help you, bro. And don't nobody want to help you. It's every man for himself. And I use the terminology, the most criminally insane minds of the society is in there. So everybody predatory, everybody preying on each other. You know, and it's bad because if you're not wise and intelligent enough, you're gonna allow yourself to be put in a position where you gotta take somebody's life or somebody take yours. I was just fortunate because I was in a lot of those situations where I was real close. I was real, I got to keep it all the way 100 with y'all. I was real close, because I ain't gonna let nobody do nothing to me. That's why I pride myself on being right. But you dealing with the environment, meaning this, coach. The prison is the dead world. I'm gonna say that again. Prison is the dead world. Ain't nobody keeping it 100. Ain't nobody word is bond. Prison is the dead world. So when you living in the dead world, you have to make sure that you don't allow yourself to become dead. So you already know you in school, two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. So either you strong enough to bring it your way, or you gonna capitulate, or get caught up in the gravitational pull of that. So I was just blessed, going back to what you saying too, bro. I spend my time preparing to come home. I got a business, I got a security business. I don't have no government contracts. Matter of fact, my security business is doing quite well because I'm going in the neighborhoods where the police ain't going in. I got a contract on 19th and Minnesota Avenue where they spinning the block every night. Every night they spinning the block over Southeast 19th. And I had a contract at the liquor store on 22nd in Minnesota, you know, and I cleaned the neighborhood up in 90 days. So the law enforcement got mad at me and had the Jewish owner take the contract for me to put a police in the liquor store. So what I did was, every time I get a contract, I train or teach and train the brothers in that neighborhood, because I can't allow somebody come from another neighborhood in somebody's neighborhood. See, I'm aware, I'm abreast of what's going on with you out here, because I'm out here. So theoretically or academically, I'm listening to people, but I want to see it myself, because they might not see or perceive what I see. So I usually get a contract, and whoever in that neighborhood, teach and train them how to do security, and let them govern the neighborhood. Just clean it up just like that. You know, so that's a challenge within itself, but that goes back, young brother, to what you said about being educated. Of course, it was a challenge for me because I had to pay my own money. I had to pay my own way. And unfortunately, you know, them shipping me around like that, I'd be in transit and couldn't do my assignments. So I would have to write the professor and let him know, look, I'm in transit. I don't have no material with. When I get to another institution, I'm gonna do the assignment. My assignment is gonna be late. So there's a lot of different things or cocktail of things that goes on while you're incarcerated like that. And I'm on, because I got the sister, see, I'm quite sure that one of them got a question. No, one of y'all got a question. Come on, bro. Give me a question, bro.
At what point in your life did you decide that you had to spread the knowledge to the kids?
When they locked me up, brother, I'm an FOI, meaning with Farrakhan. I was in the mosque already, right? Now, I was on the job when the murder happened. I wouldn't tell. So what they did was, they got one of the brothers that had 6 distribution charges, right? They say that I did it, and they dropped his charges and convicted me. That's why I stayed in jail 3 years, right? I was already doing this. I'm from uptown, you know, and that's why the program is gonna be on Malcolm X Park. I'm from uptown, bro. I know Genghis and all of them. I come up, that's my little homie, Rick, Rocksteady Project. I come up with brother now. They're my little homies, man. You know, so I'm down 7th T a lot. I'm on Kennedy Street a lot. I'm on right there 640 with Goodolph in them a lot. So I'm from uptown, born and raised, you know, but I'm able to go in all neighborhoods because me just being me. So I was doing this as a young man. That's just me. That's my character. You know, ain't nobody had to teach and train me to do nothing. I just care. Even when I was down at youth center, as you heard, I was 17 years and 18 years of age even down at youth center, one back then in them 80s, where I just couldn't stand Mario and the rest of them brothers and Wayne and them taking advantage of them brothers. Just happened to have a charge and ready to go back home. And that's how a lot of that killing started, because they was on some savage time. Them little brothers was coming home or beat them home and was killing them in the halfway house. See, for every action, there's an opposite reaction. You see, and that's why he asked me the question, and you asking me legitimate questions, and you asking me legitimate questions. Don't let me leave out of here without asking me whatever question that's on your mind, because if I don't have an answer, I can return with it. I'm 56 years of age. I come up in the city. And coming up in the city, a lot of things that I'm abreast with, and if I'm not abreast with, this is why I ask y'all questions, that I can learn. And that's a problem with many of us that's adults. That's a major problem, man. When I went down Dunbar, I go down Dunbar on Friday, I blasted the teachers down there. I put them on major, who you talking to? Don't talk to them like that. And that's how I'm coming, whether they let me come back in there or not. I'm volunteering. Not on volunteering, but I'm on First and O Street. I'm on First and Base. I'm on First and North Capitol. I'm going down Temple Courts. I know all that down there. That's part of my neighborhood too. See, so the thing for me is I have to be free to say what I need to say. Because at the end of the day, first of all, we have to have the proper respect for one another. We have to. That goes both ways. So I noticed that if one of us, particularly a teacher, come off like that, you're going to shut down, and really you're supposed to. Because if you asking me to respect you, you got to respect me. Am I right? That's how it goes. So a lot of things that can be corrected, but who going to correct it? And that's the issue right now that I see. See, so I remember just recently, last month, it's different for me because ain't none of us grew up with what y'all got to deal with. None of us grew up with what y'all got to deal with. Yeah, there was killing going on and all that kind of stuff in every generation. But what y'all got to deal with, oh man. That's why I got to listen to you, that I can understand how to help. This thing is heavy. When you see 13-year-olds killing 13-year-olds, and then unfortunately for me, I was invited to certain funerals. I'm looking at the casket of little babies, and come to find out a little baby that killed another little baby. You know what I'm saying? Damn, that's heavy for me to see. Because first and foremost, you 13-year-old, you never even got a chance to even live your life. And Mayor Bowser, politically, what she got to do now is keep them over to DC jail on a juvenile till they're 18 years old, then charge them as an adult. Come on, man. And we ain't thinking. Stay over the dirty, trifling, dilapidated DC jail till I become legally enough for you to give me a life sentence about a disagreement, though. And what I definitely don't understand is this Instagram thing, man. I don't understand it. How we just do things and just want everybody to know. Say, what is this? I had to say the same thing in Chicago on O Block. With Lil King Von and them people. Man, what are y'all doing? I got on the plane to come back to Washington, D.C. The 27th, that Monday. I get a text that they shot a police in the head. Police chasing one of the little brothers. He turned around and dogged him. I get the BWI, I get I. But that's the reality that all of us is living in whatever cities. But the question is, when is it going to stop? It's not going to stop until we stop it. It ain't going to stop until we stop it. It's not going to stop until we say, okay, I made a conscious decision. I ain't with it. And this is why I say the association breeds assimilation. All right, give me a question. Give me a question, bro. Come on now. No, you ain't that shy.
I got no questions.
No question? Give me a question in the back, bro.
How you get up from doing 35 like?
Well, I knew the little brother told on me, right? And I'm gonna tell you how wicked this system is, bro. The day that they found me guilty, I get back on the last bus to go back to the DC jail. Guess who was on the bus?
Yeah.
He was on the same bus, bro.
Exactly.
He was on the same bus, bro. And may God bless these little brothers' soul, little E's in them now, searching quarters, man. That was their little home. He said, man, we're from the quarters, man. You gonna tell on the brother, bro? And I come across the table first, bam. I turn around, I wait on him, right? I wait on him. So little E's in him take his money. He take his money, man, right? So I look at him, right? I'm this close to him. Police can't help him if I decide to do anything to him. Police can't help him, right? I decided, I need him to get what? I need him to get back home. Fighting him, bro, as mad as I was, bro. I knew what was coming. I just got found guilty. Okay? I knew the 35 to life with no parole was coming. Dogging him out, that's emotional. I needed him, and I knew I needed him to get back home. In those 23 years, he ended up giving me 3 affidavits saying that he lied and made a deal with the government that he didn't see me kill a dude. All right? Now, I'm going to tell you the beautiful thing about that. I did 23 in the hole. He did 22 in protective custody. Everywhere he would go in the compound, oh, man, that's the one that told him Brother D. So he would write the affidavits. So I had 3 different affidavits over the 23-year protracted time. Now, what I didn't do was discipline on my behalf. See, a lot of times you would want to get out so bad, you start writing frivolous motions, and you will lock yourself and exhaust all your remedies and lock yourself in that place, and you did it yourself. I wouldn't do that. You know, I was still, as I'm education, dealing with all the stuff, all the madness in solitary confinement. When I was on the general population, I was still studying my case. So what I did, bro, was I filed a motion. The motion I filed was ineffective assistance of counsel because the first lawyer that I had, that I got found guilty with, she took $30,000 from me. So I filed an ineffective assistance of counsel, shot that motion in with those 3 affidavits, and I'm home. You know, so that's the beautiful thing for that, but everybody don't get that opportunity. Everybody's not focused like that. Everybody's not disciplined like that, bro. They're just not. And this is why, for me, and I said it 40 minutes ago, man, I get all the calls from the feds, from them brothers in them FCIs now, and those guys in them penitentiary, because it's different for me now being out of there because that COVID's still in there. And because that COVID is dogging it, they dying in them penitentiaries, in them FCIs. Don't care nothing about them. They dying in there. So when they do get a chance to get on the phone, okay, look here, man, go see my mother. Man, my daughter need this. Go holler at this lawyer. Can you write the letter? I'm ready to go for parole. So that's the work that I do. I ain't just doing what I'm doing. That's why I got all the juice. Because I'm going to help. I'm not leaving them in there. I was just in there 31 months ago. And then my word is what it is. I'm very charitable. I live well, I'm fine. You know, so I give a lot because people need help. And this is why when I get around Mayor Bowser and people in the administration and government, I'm saying, look, the money, even when it comes down, because me and Coach was talking about providing the resources even for Coolidge. And coaching them is doing a beautiful job, but I'm gonna end it with this, bruh, and little sis. You know, I thank y'all for giving me the opportunity just to say a few words. Because I hope that I said something, bro, and little sis, that could at least balance out the thinking process, because I'm gonna leave you with this for every action, and thank you just to say a few words. Thank y'all, brothers and sisters.
Definitely appreciate you guys for coming down. Like you said, I hope something that he said